The last and final part of our conversation is here, and let's jump right in.
It's always time and
Yeah.
situations. I had a whole no, trust me, I had a whole other thing planned for today,
Well, you
but
could get into that too if you want. That's not a
no,
not an
sir, it's okay.
issue.
It's okay.
Oh,
We're
okay.
gonna leave it because there's there's some things that I know you're not gonna talk about, and that's okay.
Uh,
Um,
well, and you probably know why then if
yes, sir.
you know
That's
I'm
why I
not
haven't
gonna talk
mentioned your
about.
name. I protect your
Okay.
identity.
Oh, okay. My
um,
identity. That's
but we can.
nice.
I mean, we could always do another conversation
Okay,
about
up
everything.
that's up to
Okay,
you.
this don't have to
Hopefully
be the
by
first.
hopefully by then I have my office and a better setup than I have here. That's partially why we couldn't cam up because I'm like in a utility room for my office, right? It's not the best. It's not the best location, and of course, I'm kind of halfway in here and halfway uh, daddy daycare, and I'm 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 actually glad you called this time because at certain other times of the day, I would be like, "Could you hold on, please, or can we get back in?" Because I am actually doing something else here too on the job
No,
where
that's cool. I
at
appreciate your time.
any given moment I could be called away, right? So
Yes. No, I get that. No, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the conversation. Um,
my pleasure, my pleasure.
what is one thing, because I want to end this off correctly. What is one thing you would say to somebody who's going through the process of grief and doesn't really know where to start?
Um, doesn't know where to start. Talk about it, and I don't know if that's cliche or that just sounds too simple, but
But it is
if
that simple.
you know something's um inside of you, the only way to get it out is to let it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And start a conversation. Speak to your friend, your spouse, your parents. Speak to somebody and see if they can give you any kind of guidance and like sincerely talk about it, not just oh I don't feel good because they're gonna say go to the doctor or oh I'm just kind of sad or they're gonna tell you to man up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like sincerely search within yourself and say okay, this is what I would advise. I can't tell anybody how to speak to themselves or whatever, but really, if you can't, you just don't feel right emotionally. Something's just like I could feel like angry all the time or sad all the time or whatever it is. Some emotion is just bubbling up to the surface all the time, and you don't know why. That's where I would start.
Amazing.
I just feel angry a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't. It's nothing like the color of the floor isn't pissing me off, and I'm just pissed off at the floor. Why
Mm-hmm.
is that? You know? Because and that's where it started with me. Like I would go high and low.
Mm.
So I don't want to call it a name or say well I was whatever, but and that's where it came from. That's why it was my wife that it like prompted me because obviously if I'm high and low, who's mostly going to be affected by that? It's the person I'm with, right?
Right.
So I'd be angry with her and then really emotional about something else. He's like, no, this can't be about, the dinner not being ready at 5, it's ready at 5:30,
Right.
or just it obviously was something else there. And
Mm-hmm.
in having that conversation, she said, well, she has gone through her share of stuff and she knows you can't pin that on because it's hard. You can't pin that on your people to figure it out because it's like something that they didn't do is making you broken and now you want them to fix it and it's not fair to them and it's not a lot of people like you said the pastor's not equipped and people in average people are not equipped to deal with that, right?
Right.
So,
No, you're right. Um, do you think it matters what's like male or female who they speak to? Like you as a
uh,
male, would you say, nah, I'm not trying to take on no male therapist? Or for you, just like solution
no,
oriented?
honestly, I don't think it matters. I happen to speak more. Um, it just happened that my therapist was a lady. I don't think it would have mattered in the in the greater scheme of things whether it
Hmm.
was a man or a woman. Having that listening ear and somebody who could kind of um, translate, I guess, certain things that I was processing in my mind
Hmm.
definitely helps. And it's just get someone. It may work out better for you to have someone of a specific gender, depending on how you are as a person. For me, it wouldn't matter. I don't think.
No, that's good. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I know we talk so much about therapy,
Hmm.
and I'm not a therapist by trade.
Um,
But I am gifted at what I do. I am
right.
gifted at talking to people and getting people to open up. And so, in building my mentorship program, I had all of this stuff in mind. One of the things that I love that I do is because I went through therapy and like a lot of it was me being very self aware of where I was at. And
Uh-huh.
I missed the connectivity part. Like, it felt at times like it was me pouring out my soul to my therapist, and like they were just like, "So how do you feel about that?" And like I was getting nothing back, and so
Yeah.
sometimes it made me feel a little bit awkward. And I kind of love the fact that like I base everything off of well my memoir, but I based it off my life experiences. So like as I'm sharing my life with you, you get to share your life back with me, and the
Right.
conversation piece is really key that happens there. And so
Well,
yeah,
you know what? I would say, just from my life experience, you're probably better off with someone of a similar background as you, more
hmm
so than the same gender. And
hmm
why I will say that is, and I don't want to assume anything, so I'm not gonna, but a lot of times when you bring certain problems, you know, I'll call it what it is. When you bring black problems to, say, a Asian person, they're going to give you the template solution that they know. Whereas if an Asian person went to them, they're going to be more catering because Asian to Asian, right? Or Spanish to Spanish, whatever similar background, people
hmm
tend to be more accommodating
hmm
to people of their similar backgrounds. And that's just a general across the board thing. So I feel like if you were to say, let's say as a Caribbean person, if I went to an African therapist, they probably wouldn't be as open to say advising me or like you said, having that conversation component is just more like, so how does it make you feel when you yell at your kids? And it's like, well, I don't want to yell at my kids anymore. What are some kind of tools I could use? But because we're so different, they don't want to say give advice. But if we were more similar, they would be more open to doing that.
Yeah, I found like there's a lot of minorities who have like they all beat the kids. They all got like similar
Hmm.
what do you call it, like expectations. I found when I
Hmm.
went to but I like I do agree with you to a point because like I felt like when I went to certain races for therapy because I had different type of people, the
Hmm.
place that I felt the most comfortable was when I had a Caribbean therapist or when I
Yeah.
had a Caribbean space to talk about it. So yes, in that sense,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because it's relatable.
Yes.
Just similarly, where I would say like an Italian would relate to Nona smacking them with the wood spoon, but a black person seeing an Italian about something like that, they'll be like, oh, I don't know, how are you supposed to hit your kid? You know what I mean?
I feel you.
And like I've had these conversations with like people who like peers of mine, friends, coworkers, whatever, and it's like, you didn't get hit as a kid? You mean I didn't get hit as a kid? Of course I did, right? But the idea is white kids don't get beaten or don't, you know what I mean? They don't get hits.
Well,
That's
yeah.
that's absolutely untrue. They well, maybe not the younger generation, which to be fair, my kids don't really get, spanked either. So I would think that's more of a we realize that's not the best solution and we're working our way away from it.
Hmm.
But people from my generation and up, black, white, Indian, Chinese, they got if they didn't get some whoopings, they were very well behaved. I
Hmm.
can tell you that much. They were just that kid that the parent was like, "You do this," and they did it, or "You don't do that," and they didn't do it.
Right.
But if you're the type of kid that talked back, made messes when you were told to clean up, do all of this, you're getting the wood spoon, the slippers, all of that, right? And I found that that's like across for all cultures. That's not unique to just Caribbean black people or
Right.
black people in general.
Fair.
So, but why I said the same, it's an experience I had with, funny enough, doing taxes,
Mm.
where years ago I had some issues and I went to a Hispanic gentleman and he did the bare minimum, which is fine. Like that's what I paid him for. That's his job, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know how to do taxes and he provided the service. I paid him, he did it.
Right.
But I would notice that I have my big file. I go in, I sit down and I wait for my appointment. And he would be in there, chopping it up with people and their file is considerably smaller than mine.
Hmm.
So just by perception, it's like, well, he should have more to say to me about my file.
Right.
But
Right.
then having long, drawn out conversations and como se llama, this and da 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 da. And 45 minutes later, oh, Mr. Frater, come on in, or whatever it is. And I would go in and 10, 15 minutes, I'm done. It's just
Dang.
like, oh, this
Right.
is your docket. This is your documents. Okay, sign here, sign here, sign here. Hand over the money, and I'm out.
Got it.
I'm
No,
like,
I understand that.
interesting. And
I
and,
understand
and
that.
then I went to a tax person of a similar background as me, and he starts telling me how to move and shake. Oh, you need to do this, and oh, bring your tax to me, man. I'll hook it up, and da da da. And it's not even doing anything illegal. It's just, oh, you got wife and kids. How come you didn't claim that? You got this and that. You didn't claim that. And
Right.
I'm like, so this is what the guy's telling these people in Spanish.
Right. Right.
And it's like you cater to your
You look out for
kind.
your own. No, I get that.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's something we do. We probably don't do it intentionally because I'm assuming, but he probably knows that lady from somewhere other than just being her tax man, right?
Hmm.
But
Perception is
perception,
everything.
exactly. And then so I now do my taxes with somebody from where I'm from, and you know
Hmm.
he he asks questions that are pertinent to my situation now. Whereas before, I would just bring it to wherever, hand it over, and he's like, "These are all the documents. Great, sign here."
Right. And we could
It's
apply that
whatever.
to so many different situations that when we're going through life, building a community around ourselves instead of just like living in isolation or living ourselves like separate from people, is really key. Because when we isolate ourselves or when we put ourselves in spaces, like I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and with that came with a lot of like the prejudices and fighting for my life on like certain topics and like all these different things that maybe if I had grown up in a community with my own people it would have been different, right?
Right,
But there were some things that I was afforded. I would got to go on like really cool trips around Canada, and arts was really important, and so it really just it's important either way to build ourselves a community. and to not feel like we have to go through this world alone, because we really don't. Like, we really do need to understand that yes, people suck sometimes, people will betray us, but we don't get to write off every single person just because of the one person that hurt our feelings. Like, there's really no excuse for that. We have to be able to see beyond the person's actions, to see maybe they were hurting, maybe that's why they did it. Maybe they were going through grief, loss. Maybe they were just like upset with something in their life or how they were raised, and that's why they're choosing to show up in a particular way. But that doesn't mean that we have to write them and like the whole race off or the whole people. Like, we really do need to be around people who are loving, caring, and open for communication. Conversations like this are important.
That's
Conversations
right.
open up so much more, and I'm excited. And I
That's
thank
right.
you for the conversation. I thank you for jumping online with
Anytime.
me today and just talking and chopping it up on. I know it's not what you
Anytime.
expected, and
Ah,
neither me, but it was cool.
absolutely. Anytime. Anytime. I'm glad to do it.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Lips and Language podcast. My name is Kola. I am so excited that you are here. If anything I said today resonated, then get in touch with me. I have an amazing mentorship program. It is for those who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, going through grief. It is truly an amazing time. If you want more info, hit my website, lipsandlanguage.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can hit it up on the website or DM me. I have a free gift for you, and I would love to be in contact with you. Whatever you decide, just know that healing, it looks good on you. And I'm so excited that we get to do this journey together. Have a blessed day. And if nobody told you, I will. I love you. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.